Hi, I'm here with our school principal, Miss Millard, and we're going to ask her a few questions about underage drinking in and out of school.
So, Miss Millard, after hearing all these statistics and what we have said, what are your thoughts?
I'm a little floored, and I think probably a lot of our parents after hearing this are going to be a little shocked. Again, we're hoping that kids are going to make the best decisions, but they don't always when they're drinking. The statistic about getting in the car, 42% I think it was, or something like that, getting into a car with somebody that they knew were drunk, that scares the mess out of me. This school unfortunately has a very sad history, not too long ago, of people who were drinking and got in the car and we lost a student. That is the biggest fear of any parent, biggest fear of any principal or school personnel, that something would happen, God forbid, to a child based on drinking or drugs and doing things of that nature. So that is very scary. I think your suggestion is perfect. Make a plan with your kids. I'm not going to be happy that you drank, or I'm not going to be happy that you were hanging with someone who was drinking. But here's the plan. This is what you do. You get a free card, you call me. Or you got Uber home. But do not get in the car. No questions asked. You bring your hand packs home safely. The other one that scares me is the 33%. A third of our school is coming to school at different times and drinking throughout the school day. That scares me. Not because of impression of the school, because nothing that you guys read is any different than any other school in this district. If we ask these very same questions at other schools, there'd be some that are probably higher at different schools. But that makes me really concerned about the emotional and social wellness of our children. That there are a third of kids in this building who don't feel able to function at school without alcohol. That breaks my heart, and I feel like as a school we need to figure out how to find out who those kids are so we can support them. Or what do we need to build in the school that's a part of the school for everyone that can help kids de-stress or deal with their anger, sadness, depression, suicidal ideations, whatever it is. How can we create a safe space for kids to at least say, instead of me coming to school today drunk, I'm going to come and tell you that I want to drink. And then that way we can start a conversation about how we can help.
As a parent and an educator, when discussing underage drinking, what are some of your biggest concerns?
I think when I think about sort of my biggest concerns is really the lack of judgment and understanding of what can happen to you when you put yourself in a situation where you are over drinking and also don't necessarily have the developmental stages of making decisions that are good for you. I'm thinking about the minor things that you do when you're under the influence to make decisions that can impact the rest of your life. And I'm not saying it from a perspective of, just because I was drinking and incapacitated, that gave somebody the right to do X, Y, and Z. Absolutely not. But at the same time, you can only control you. Yeah. So my biggest concerns are about that.
Another question we wanted to ask you was, what are some ways you think parents could help stop the issues of drinking during the school day?
It's one thing that, it's the weekend, we're hanging out, we're at a party, and we're drinking, social drinking. Mm-hmm. It's another thing when you're waking up in the morning and saying, I'm going to pack vodka in my water bottle and go to school so I can sip it all day. Something's not right there, and it has nothing to do, so to speak, with the drinking. Yeah. It has everything to do with how that person feels about themselves, what's going on in their life, what's difficult about getting through a school day. And I think how parents help that is to really start to have true open communication with their kids. Too, I think my kids and you guys can find it very easy to talk to some other adult. Mm-hmm. It's just really hard to express yourself to your own parents because you want to live up to their expectations. Yeah. You want them to feel like you're okay. You don't want them to worry about you. You want to keep your freedom. Yes. If you tell them some of the things you're struggling with, they might tighten up and say, what? You're what? Oh, you can't hang with that person anymore. You can't go to this place anymore. And so there's all these fears on both sides of that conversation that really inhibit the true conversation. So I think as kids start to hit those years where this stuff becomes even more of a concern. So for me, I really believe this stuff starts in like upper elementary, like 5th and 6th grade. Having conversations where you're setting a tone with your kids that, no, not everything you say I'm going to agree with. No, not everything is going to be permissible. But yes, I will hear you out. I will listen to what you have to say. I'll be willing to talk you through it. I will get angry, but I will promise you that I will contain that anger, deal with that part, and then come back to you. And as parents, if you're from my generation, there's this whole kind of mindset of, oh, come on, your life can't be that daggone hard. You're just a teenager. All you gotta do is go to school. I feed you, I clothe you, you got cars, you get to go wherever you want, you travel. Why are you whining about this, that, or the other thing? Having to open ourselves up as parents to understand that it truly is different. What you guys are having to manage and deal with, information coming at you at top rate speeds, everything you do being possibly recorded or reproduced or sent out, like it's instantaneous. Parents need to understand that and kind of take a little step back, give their kid a little bit more room to be able to feel as comfortable as they can to have those conversations. The other piece would be creating another layer of people that your kid can talk to. Coaches, teachers, church members, other family members. That it's okay for you to go to somebody else. You don't have to bring everything to me. I've made sure that there are people in your life who are going to support you and give you good advice, even in the absence of you being able to do that with me in any given moment. So being okay with that. That, okay, my kid's not going to tell me everything, but I know that there are people in their life that if they really need, they can go to. And I'm going to be okay with that. Instead of being the parent that's like, tell me, what's going on, la, 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 la. Back off.
Yeah.
And give some of that space so that you can foster the conversations. Don't stop telling your kids what you think either. Because I think some parents are doing the exact opposite. They're letting the pendulum swing the other way, and they don't have any opinions on nothing. They don't want to say anything that's too, this is the line. This is the line I'm drawing as a parent. This is what I agree with, and this is what I don't agree with. This is what I expect in my home, and this is what I expect when you're in the street. And then when you're 21, and you're on your own, you make your own choices. That's the other thing too, letting your kids know that you can get back up. If you mess up, if you make a mistake, it will not be the end of the world. I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to support you. I may not like it. I'm going to have a smile on my face, but I am going to help you and take care of you. So
can you briefly explain the disciplinary actions that would take place in the event that a student was caught drinking in school?
Absolutely. It can be anything from a low-level out-of-school suspension all the way up to a recommendation for the hearings office, which is the process that you go through when they're making a determination as to whether or not you can stay in the school based on the infraction that you have. So it really, that range is pretty wide. It gives us a lot of breadth as to what we could do, and that gives us the ability to sort of case by case it as well. The one thing that I can guarantee you is that you will have a disciplinary action. So one of the things that we want to make sure is there's consistency around some of that, right? But what happens with you might look a little different than what happens with her because it just depends on the case and the situation. The other piece about sort of that's sort of a mandated part of the process is that you are given information to go to what we call our ATOD class. It's alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. It's a class, multiple days, that the county offers. So sometimes we might say, all right, you're suspended for 3 days, but in lieu of you just being out of school suspended, you're going to have to go to this ATOD class. And you would go to another location and you do 3 days worth of this class or 5 days worth of this class, which is doing a lot of what you guys are trying to do, bring awareness, you know, of the uses or illicit uses of alcohol, drugs, tobacco, etc. And that's a part of the package of your disciplinary action that you would have to do that. But the previous question was talking about drinking during the school day. Another piece that we might put into play is to work with your family to get you support. If you're bringing alcohol to school and you're drinking throughout the school day, something's wrong. And so another piece of, which I don't want to label it as disciplinary, but I can mandate it, I can say, I really think that he or she needs some counseling. They need some support. So I would work with the family to help them figure that out.
What are some ways that West Potomac staff can promote safe behaviors?
I think, again, it's all about the communication, being open, and talking to our students about what's on their minds, what they're struggling with, what things we could do differently to make things better. No matter what, it takes the entire community. It's not something that one or two people can fix by themselves. But I think the more that we talk about it and give voice to students where they often feel they don't have a voice, that's the other call that I put out to my teachers, that we are representations of what we want to see in kids. So reflect that out. Be professional, be mindful. Yes, your personal life is your personal life, don't get me wrong. However, you have to be mindful of what that might reflect, what you're putting on social media, if you're friending kids, which you shouldn't be, because that's a regulation that shouldn't be happening. But what you're tweeting out, things that we do naturally, you have to put it in the perspective of, okay, I got 2,700 kids that might have exposure to this. What is this going to look like? So those are the two main things. Providing a space where kids feel safe to express their opinions, to talk about things, to have input, to have a voice, and then us being examples of what that looks like.